All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're talking about a film that did so much more than just tell a story. It basically redefined an entire nation's cinema. I'm talking about Satyajit Ray's 1955 masterpiece, Pather Panchali. So let me ask you something. What really makes a film a masterpiece? Is it just about the awards it piles up, or how much influence it has around the world, or is it something deeper? Its power to completely change the game, to change the art form itself. Well, when you get into those passionate debates about the greatest Indian film ever made, and trust me, they get heated, there's one film that always seems to stand apart. And it's not just because it's beautiful, it's because of its sheer importance, how it laid a new foundation for cinema. And that film is Pather Panchali. And look, calling it a classic of world cinema isn't just some stuffy academic praise. This film was genuinely revolutionary. It introduced the entire world to Indian social realism, and almost overnight, put its director, Satyajit Ray, on the map with the absolute titans of 20th century filmmaking. Okay, let's get into it. Section 1, Song of the Little Road. So what's the actual story here? What is at the heart of this quiet, yet totally monumental film? I mean, just look at the title, Song of the Little Road. It's pure poetry, right? And it tells you everything you need to know. This isn't going to be some epic with huge dramatic plot twists. No, this is about something much more intimate. The quiet, atmospheric, and yeah, often really difficult journey of a single family. And the whole thing is told through the eyes of two children, Apu and his sister Durga. So we get to see their world. We experience their little fleeting moments of joy, but also that kind of quiet, constant sadness that just hangs in the air of their tiny remote village. All right, Section 2, A Portrait of a Family. To really get a feel for this film's power, you've got to meet the Roy family. They are the absolute heart and soul of this story. So what's so brilliant here is that each character isn't just a person. They're like a piece of a larger puzzle about survival. You've got Apu, the son, this observant little kid who really represents all the family's hopes for a better future. Then there's his sister, Durga, who's got this wild, untamed spirit that perfectly captures both the freedom of childhood and the harshness of their rural life. Their mother, Sarbajaya, she's the rock, the emotional core, just fighting tooth and nail to keep them all together. And finally, you have Inder, the old aunt, who kind of symbolizes fading traditions and the community's failure to care for its own. Altogether, they paint this incredibly complete picture of life on the edge. And then there's the father, Harihar. He's a poet, a priest, a bit of a dreamer, but his idealism just can't keep up with reality. He's gone a lot trying to find work, and that puts this constant, crushing financial strain right on the shoulders of Sarbajaya, the mother, who's left to deal with it all. Section 3, The World in a Village. Okay, so on the surface, it's a simple family story. But what Satyajit Ray does is use that simple story as a lens, a way to explore these huge, universal themes that affect every single one of us. Take poverty, for instance. What's so amazing is that the film never gets melodramatic about it. It doesn't judge them, it doesn't sensationalize their struggle, it just shows you the raw, day-to-day reality of being poor. But, and this is so important, it never lets you forget their dignity. It's always there. And then there's this theme of losing your innocence. This is summed up in what is, no exaggeration, one of the most famous and beautiful scenes in all of cinema. It's when Apu and Durga hear a strange sound and just start running through these tall fields of grass to see a steam train. It's the first time they've ever seen one. That train is a symbol of the modern world, of a future that's just out of their grasp. And the pure, wide-eyed wonder on their faces, it's just unforgettable. It's pure cinema. And that train scene perfectly sets up the next big theme, tradition versus modernity. You can feel this tension throughout the entire film. It's like this invisible force pushing and pulling on the family. Their old traditional way of life just isn't working anymore, and that's the conflict that ultimately forces them into a heartbreaking choice, a choice they make simply because they have to. Section 4, A Cinematic Revolution. So the story is incredible. But what makes this film a true landmark is how it was made. It wasn't just different, it was a complete revolution. Okay, so you have to understand what mainstream Indian cinema was like at the time. It was all about big, lavish spectacles. Elaborate song and dance numbers were a huge part of the storytelling. It was a formula. And Satyajit Ray? He just threw that whole formula out the window. He said no to the spectacle, no to the fantasy, and instead he stripped cinema down to its absolute, most truthful core. I mean, he literally broke all the rules. He didn't use professional actors, he found real people. He didn't build sets, he shot on location in a real village. He used natural light instead of big studio lights. And he completely got rid of the song and dance numbers. He was all about authenticity over spectacle. And by doing all this, he kicked off a whole new movement in Indian filmmaking called parallel cinema, which was all about telling serious, real stories. This commitment to realism, it leads to a truly devastating tragedy near the end of the film. And again, it's not melodramatic, it's quiet, it's real, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. It's the final blow that forces what's left of the family to leave their home for good, just hoping to find something better somewhere else. So let's talk legacy. Section 5, the undisputed legacy. After all this, what is the lasting impact of this one quiet black and white film about a poor family in a tiny village? What did it all add up to? Well, it did something huge. It proved, without a doubt, that you don't need huge budgets and spectacle to connect with a global audience. It showed that a story that is super specific, super rooted in one particular culture, could speak to absolutely everyone. Why? Because of its deep, profound, and shared humanism. It just connected on a human level. So, can a small story about just one family really change the cinema of an entire nation? The answer is a resounding yes. By telling this intimate story with such honesty and artistry, Satyajit Ray did exactly that. He gave Indian cinema a new voice, a new path forward, and created a legacy that, honestly, still inspires filmmakers all over the world today.